In this video, I'm going to show you how to do water drop refraction photography with macro. It's a great technique to learn and really impressive. The idea is that we shoot through a water drop to see a flower in the background. The setup for this might seem a little bit complex, especially as I have all of this gear over the table, but really it's quite simple. I have a couple different tripods here because they go to different heights. This one is a tiny little basic, I think it's Manfrotto tripod. It might have come with our gimbal. And then this one here is the Gorilla Pod, which is really versatile. I think we'll start with this one though. So I've taken a flower and I've clipped it to the side of this tripod. You can see this here. And it's something you don't want to do too much to the flower, because if I take this off and I try and reattach it again, it's now got a really weak point right there. So when you put this on, make sure you have a nice accurate position. And if you're using something like this, you can actually even adjust the angle like so. The next step of the setup is to take a thin leaf like this. I think it's a fern plant behind me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some scissors and I'm just going to cut the ends off so it's nice and square. And then I'm going to take these clips, which are used to mount photos on your desk, and I'm going to put them in like so on both ends. And the idea is you get a smooth arc. It might be a little bit short, but we can always grab another one if we need it. The next step is to add a water drop to this leaf. And you'll notice here I'm using a syringe. You can get this from any pharmacy, they're very cheap. And what I've done is I've taken a mixture of water and glycerin. If you saw our Wow Factor photography video on bubble photography, you'll know that we mix water and glycerin to make the structure last longer. So when we inflate a bubble, it stays together for a longer period of time. So that's what we've done here. We've mixed 50-50 water glycerin. I think it's about 50-50. That might be too strong of a mixture, but we'll see in a moment. We can always readjust, add more water and dilute it. I did that last night. It just gives it a little bit more time to meld together and become stronger. So I dip the syringe in, suck out a load of the water and glycerin mixture, and you'll see this actually makes it pretty easy to come in here and add drops of water underneath. And this is just the experimentation stage. So I'm sure that whatever I add here is going to disappear as soon as I try to add my tripod and the flower and try to focus. We just want to see if this is going to stick properly. I'll take the syringe upside down. I like to put it in at the side because that's going to allow me to remove my syringe a little bit easier. And it can make it wider as well, which adds a bit more strength to it. We won't push our luck just yet. We'll leave that there for now. Now it's time to put the tripod and camera together like so. I'm going to open up live view. I'm going to find this water drop. It's pretty close to the focal point actually. And using my macro lens, I'm going to focus at the nearest possible focus distance and then adjust the position of the bubble until I find focus, which is about there. We don't need to be too exact just yet. The next step is to add the flower in the background. And the whole point is that we see this flower in good detail behind the water drop, or rather through the water drop. So I need to get that at a similar height. That looks pretty cool. And I'm going to bring it nice and close. When I set up this shot, and I'll just take a photo so you can see, I set it up so that the focus was on the water drop. But when we take a photograph of the water drop through to the flower, we don't want to set either the flower or the water drop at the minimum focusing distance because the light is refracted. It's like adding a miniature magnifying glass in there. So the focus point is going to move, and we're going to just move the different elements of this scene around until we get what we like. And I don't think we're far off. So I'm going to start by moving the water drop closer to us. No, that's more blurred, and then I'll push it back. And that's where I'm starting to see. I'm happy with the water drop, I'm happy with the size. It's the flower movement where we really start to see a difference. So I'll take a photo like this. take one like this. And you can see I'm moving the flower around, and it's a flower that we really need to start playing with and experimenting if we want to see the detail. And when I use live view, sometimes I like to zoom in on just that water drop so we can get a nice clear picture and make sure that we're focusing just right. It gets quite hard when you're touching the table because the water drop starts to dance and shake. And that looks really cool, actually. I'm actually really happy with how that's come out so far, but there's ways to improve this image. We can adjust the composition, although I think it looks pretty good right now. We can add more water drops. We can try and change the colors, but we're really focused in on just this flower. So I don't think there's going to be much, like I can't see any of the light in the background or at the side. What I might want to do though is experiment with some of the light. So I could turn these video lights off and add my own light back in, or I can go for a flash instead. So I'm going to adjust the exposure settings now so that I don't see anything on my live view, and then we'll add the light back in with the flash. Let's see, let's go to F8, that's a nice place to start, and we'll do 1/100th of a second. Now I'll take a photo, and there we have it, we have a black screen. And I'll turn the flash back on, and let's see how that looks. The effect we get from that doesn't seem that significant, but it's actually quite a big change. So the number one thing you'll notice is the image is a lot sharper. You can see clean lines now, and you can see reflections on this leaf as well. And we also start to see some black around the edge of the flower. What we might be able to do is to add some backgrounds in here, but I don't think that's going to make any difference. I think the black from the flower is really just the water drop. So perhaps I'll move one of these around like so, and we'll do like an up and down sandwich effect. And I do actually definitely prefer that, because now we start to see some green around the bottom of the water drop, and that's reflecting from the leaf. So that's definitely an improvement. So back to the syringe, and unfortunately I have this whole rig in my way, so I need to get to either side of it. What I like to do is just change my exposure settings in live view so I can actually see what I'm looking at. And I'm going to come in the side of this one and make sure it goes. That's quite cool. This requires steady hands. You may want to try and achieve a flatter surface. So we've got 3 in here. What I do want to try and do is add a little bit more water to them. Take a quick photo. And when we do have this set up, what we might want to do is adjust the position of the flower, but we'll have a look first. I'm certainly going to change my composition slightly, put it more central. Okay, so now that we've got that set up, I'm going to adjust the position of the flower so that they all look great. Cool, I'm really happy with that photograph now. Now that we have this set up, the lighting is good, the composition's good, the flower, everything's good, I do want to test one other scenario, and that's to change the flash. Now, I don't want to knock anything, I don't want to change anything unless I have to. So what I'm going to try and do is just take this off and take this wireless one, put it on, and see if we can get some different results with a different flash setup. And there we have it, I think. So by using this big diffuser, we no longer have those flash units that were showing up in the photograph. And I think it looks a lot better as a result. We can experiment as well with where the light goes. We can just put it on the flower in the background if we want. We can come from the side, from above, everything. And I think that probably looks the best, because what we do is we block the light from directly shining onto the water drops, because the arch of the leaf is blocking it. And there we have a ton of cool photos just by using a very simple at-home setup. You can do this on your kitchen table, and because of the way flash photography works and you filter out all of the ambient light, you don't need studio conditions, which makes this ideal to shoot from anywhere. I hope you try this yourself because I really enjoy this process and I'd love to see what you can come up with too. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment.